let me ask you something filled with so much love. Something that I want you to ask yourself on the regular, and that when I ask myself on the regular, it means my business grows faster and easier. And that question is this: are you actually building your business, or are you just keeping yourself busy? Because if your days are full but your results are feeling flat, if you are putting so much energy into your business, you are feeling exhausted, like there's always so much to do, and you are doing things as well, but you feel like you're not getting anywhere, this episode might be exactly the insights and just maybe the loving butt kick that you need. So let's dive in. As a female online business owner with dreams of more income, more impact, and more freedom, you know there's more potential in your business waiting to be unlocked. But figuring out how to shape and transform your biz and get seen, loved, selling, and scaling can feel like, well, a mystery. So how do you cut through the noise, create offers that deeply resonate, sell and scale without you always being on, all while creating a life you love? That is exactly what this show is about. Welcome to Seen, Loved, Selling, Scale. I'm Corinda, your small biz marketing sidekick, digital office strategist, and online biz bestie. With tens of thousands of digital offers sold, tens of thousands of people helped, and millions of dollars in revenue generated in my own business as a small business owner. And through this podcast, I am here to share it all. You'll gain clear, actionable insights, strategies, and shortcuts to master your online marketing, build scalable online offers, and create a business model that works for you as much as it works for your people, so you can grow your income, amplify your impact, and free up more of your time. Let's get started. All right, so in last week's episode about content that converts, there was something that I mentioned in that episode about the difference between doing busy work and doing business building work, and creating content versus creating content marketing is an example of that. And let me tell you, my DMs exploded. So many of you messaged me saying things like, oh my gosh, that part literally hit me in the gut. Wait, you read my diary. This is exactly what I've been doing. Corinda, get the cameras out of my house. How are you watching me do this? And honestly, I get it because I have been there too. But when I made this shift from thinking that doing all of the work, made me productive, to actually doing the things that build a business, everything changed. I saw more results. I started getting more time back. I stopped being annoyed at myself for constantly feeling like I was spinning my wheels, exhausted at the end of the day, but really unable to see massive progress in my business. And this is exactly what this episode is about, because busy work and business building work are not the same thing. Busy work can sometimes feel good or important in the moment, but doesn't always actually go anywhere. And I use a 4P methodology to make sure I am actually being productive in my business. And I'm going to share this with you in this episode, because the 4Ps, these are what I call business building work. This is the stuff that you should be putting your time into to create traction and momentum. And I really, really, really want you to start spending more of your time there and empowering yourself to do that. So today I'm breaking down exactly why we fall into the busy work trap, what this looks like so you can start to identify some patterns here, what business building work is, and then I am sharing my 4Ps so you can personally check these off in your business as well. And this is one of those episodes you can come back to time and time again and ask yourself this beautiful question of, is this busy work or business building work, and start to get ahead. So let us start with why we stay stuck in busy work. Let's talk about why this happens, because honestly, it is not because you're lazy. It is not because you don't care. It is not because you are not trying hard enough. It is not because something is wrong with you. It is that so often things can feel important. It can be because no one really teaches us the difference in business between being busy and actually building a business. And so we get conditioned a lot of the time to measure our worth by how much we do. And completely honest with you, coming from a corporate background where I was always like wanting to be the best performer and being really strategic, but taking on the extra projects and being in that extra meeting and, being the first to respond to emails and all of those types of things that I was certainly doing back in my corporate career, a lot of that carried over into my business world when I first started in business. Again, this measuring my worth by how much work I was doing. And here is the thing, in business, that is actually not what builds a business that is actually profitable and successful and seamless. It is actually focusing on the right things instead, because effort isn't always the same as progress. And my 4 Ps help me make sure I am making progress. So this is some of the reason we fall into it. And for my beautiful neurodivergent friends out there, there might be other reasons that you are doing this as well. Because sometimes doing busy work might not necessarily be for you, programming. It might not necessarily be for you because we just haven't been taught different. It might actually be your beautiful brains doing what they do differently to someone who's neurotypical, trying to find safety, structure, regulation. So when we are doing things, it might be because you are trying to get a sense of control. You might be color coding a system because it calms your nervous system. So this episode is not about shame. This is actually about awareness. So we can all, whether we are neurodivergent, neurotypical, start to actually recognize when we are doing busy work in our business and actually build strategies that work with our brains and our businesses, not against it. So if you've been feeling frustrated with how things are going in your business, even though, again, you feel like you're working all the time, it could be because you were stuck in busy work. Now, a caveat to that is that even when we're not in busy work and we are doing business building work, we have to have the right strategies. And so this whole podcast show is about strategies to get seen, loved, selling, and scale. So you can dive into any episodes to learn about those. We're not going to talk about that. But what I'm actually talking about in this episode is when we are actually stuck in that work that is not worth it because it is not building our business worth. So what does busy work actually look like now that you know that it's very natural for us for so many different reasons to fall into this trap? So busy work is actually sneaky because it often disguises itself as work that might feel important, work that seems, productive. It feels like we're working on the business. It's not all out procrastination where you sit down at your computer to, write that post and next minute you are spring cleaning your closet, getting rid of old clothes, right? We know when that is actually procrastination or avoidance rather than this busy work disguised as productivity. But this is actually stuff where we are working in the business, but it's not necessarily things that actually move us forward. And once you start to see these patterns, you cannot unsee them. So let's go through just some real life examples of literally stuff that I have done, students have done, my peers, my mentors have done, and really start to see if we can see what busy work looks like so you can start to recognize the patterns. So one thing is something like a canvas spiral, right? So you go in to create a post. On your to-do list today is like, I need to get a social media post up. Next minute, you've spent 45 minutes to 3 hours, trying to fix the perfect font pairing, trying to find that perfect template for you. Nothing feels quite right. You've all of a sudden decided that maybe you need to look at your brand colors again. You've been doing things that feel like you're working on the business, but that thing you actually came in to do, to put a post up, is actually not getting done, or the things that were supposed to get done after you did that day have now been pushed. So in the time that it's taking you to create a post, when we are doing this busy work, again, that feels like work, got to find the perfect font, even though I've got some fonts already that I already spent 2 hours on another day. Got to find brand colors. Maybe I'm going to rebrand, even though your brand, there is nothing wrong with it. It might not be perfect right now, but there is nothing wrong with it. And the work you are doing in the background to find this perfect font pairing and find these brand colors, these little like 1%ers in business that might matter when, you are wanting to scale your business or something like that, really are not as important as getting that post up tomorrow, getting that post up the next day, putting stories up, writing the copy on your website. And that's what could have happened in those 3 hours instead of a different font pairing. So that is one of the examples for you. It could also be something like a digital cleanup loop. So you go into Canva to find a file, really picking on Canva today. I really love Canva, but these are just some examples that come to mind. But when you get in there, you realize like, things are a bit messy in here and it feels chaotic to you. And again, for my neurodivergent friends, this might hit differently because you might not actually be able to function when this happens. So it's about some different strategies for you potentially, but this is just one of those examples. So what you actually do is you start to like reorganize everything in there. Now, suddenly like 45 minutes have passed. You haven't even touched the file. You were going to be writing webinar slides or making a project for something in there. And all of a sudden you are deleting files and restructuring and renaming and doing all of these things. And here's what I like to do. I like to search for the file, use the file, park the fact that my Canva is a mess on my to-do list for a day where I have some capacity for that when I'm not in business building mode, or better yet, go and do the thing you should be doing that falls in line with the 4 Ps. One of them is profit. I'm going to talk about those soon. You make the profit, you build the business, you scale the business, you hire a VA to come in and clean up your Canva and keep it clean, right? These are the things where like it can get done. And yes, it is one of those things that it would be nice to have a cleaned up Canva. But do you need to push your entire day today to go and do that? Or could you just find the file and turn a blind eye to it for now and move on with the 4 Ps and come back to that later? It's things like tech tinkering. You're setting up systems, but what you're really doing is now like tweaking that email automation for the 5th time that has nothing to do with data that you got that needed to optimize it. You're switching platforms again instead of just getting in and sending the email. It's procrastinating, as I like to call it. So you outline a new offer, you brainstorm it, you then rename it. You change the colors again. You add it to a whiteboard. You make the whiteboard prettier. You think, I'm going to move that whiteboard to a Canva electronic doc. You change the colors in there. You think, I should design this with a better font. You come back to it the next day and you think, maybe I should tweak the name again. And this is the type of stuff where we get caught in these loops instead of knowing action brings clarity. If we go, don't love the name, going to come back to it later. This doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be in 30 different locations. I don't now need to put it into a Notion file and an Airtable. And again, for my neurodivergent people, if this is actually a strategy that you need to work on the actual business building work, this is different for you. But I also want to have that real talk with you that if this isn't one of your strategies and you are actually just falling into busy work here, you need to catch yourself and be aware of that. We all need to catch ourselves and be aware of these things where we are actually like tinkering, procrastinating, going down rabbit holes, doing the excuse of like, this isn't perfect yet. These brand fonts aren't my favorite ever. These colors aren't the best. Maybe I need a different shade of gold instead of this shade of gold instead of just getting the post up today. This is all busy work. One of the other bigger busy works I see as well, and that is a massive form of procrastination, trying to keep us safe, trying to stop us from moving forward because we have fear or feelings and, our nervous system is trying to keep us safe by playing small, is overlearning. You already have a program that's teaching you to do something, yet you're still signing up for free masterclasses in that like either shiny object syndrome, or you are saying to yourself, maybe I just need to learn one more thing before I can apply it. You are watching YouTube videos. You are downloading free PDFs. You are listening to podcasts instead of actually using the program you have, putting things out there. And then sure, if you start to see gaps in what you have applied from that program, go and fill those gaps. But overlearning is actually a massive, massive, massive form of busy work that exists in the business owner world. So these are just some of the things that I want to start painting for you to help you understand a pattern here. And your busy work may look completely different. Again, it's not procrastination where I'm spring cleaning my closet at 2:00 in the afternoon instead of, writing that client avatar. It is actually when we are working in the business, but it is on things truly at the end of the day that are not creating us profit, that are not serving our people, that are not moving our business forward. So it's stuff maybe making us feel in control, but it's stopping us from actually being seen, because the stuff that grows your business normally requires a bit more from you. Visibility, vulnerability, application, implementation, action, selling, and this stuff can be uncomfortable. And this is why we stay in that Canva folder instead. But here is the beautiful news. Once you start to see these patterns, you can start choosing differently. Or if you are neurodivergent, that choice might look different to you, and that's okay, because sometimes it isn't just about willpower. It's about working with your brain, that it is wired in this way, not fighting against it. So it might be that you do need systems and tools to help you regulate, not just organize. But if you then find yourself, once you have that, going back over it or looking for a new way to organize or looking for something different, it might be time to recognize this is actually a form of procrastination and not potentially neurodivergency. So again, I do not claim to be a medical professional in neurodivergency, but I have the joy of working with the most beautiful neurodivergent brains and have people in my life and heart and community and friendship group and everywhere that I have had the joy of getting to work with, and knowing that there is a difference between this as well, where we need things, but then we are actually falling into these general traps as well. So again, this isn't about bulldozing our way into productivity for anybody. It is about starting to recognize either A, I am just procrastinating, I need a butt kick, or look at, I am procrastinating with this busy work. Why am I doing that? Either because I'm neurodivergent and I might need other strategies, or nothing to do with neurodivergency. And it's like, I'm scared, I feel vulnerable, I don't have clarity, I don't have action, I don't have a strategy, I am fearful of something, my nervous system isn't regulated. Oh my gosh, I am doing the busy work because making this Canva post and putting it out there about this topic I was about to talk about feels scary. Or I'm sick of getting low engagement, I am measuring my worth against engagement. I actually need to go through and work on not tying my worth to the platform, and intend instead what this post is worth to any ideal audience members who see that. So these are some of the things that we actually need to start to work through so we can focus on the 4 Ps. Because I'm going to tell you what the 4 Ps are now, but I do understand it's not about bulldozing our way there most of the time. I kind of laugh about the butt kick because often I do need to kick myself up the butt. It's like I have to do a task that is just a bit like, I don't really want to do it today. And picking new brand colors or rebranding my brand actually feels way more fun right now. And there needs to be a time for fun and passion in our business, but once some other things are done as well. And so I need to butt kick myself and be like, dude, leave your brand colors alone. Go and get this task done. And then you're allowed to come back to your brand colors in your passion time. And that leads us into our 4 Ps. So let's talk about it. So we know what our busy work is, but let's talk about what the opposite of that looks like. It is the type of work that builds business. And again, sometimes this can be blurry and we don't always know what's worth it. So I've created a little benchmark for myself that I use, that I gut check my work and bring myself back when I feel like I need to ask, like, am I getting lost in the fluff? It's not fancy, but it absolutely works. So let's look at that. So the 4 Ps are people, profit, programs, and passion. And this is my productivity register. And so for people, I really asked myself, is this delivering the best for people in my world without perfection? So my clients, my community, anybody that's in my world, is this actually serving them? Does this help them in their life right now? And am I making sure I get it to them without perfectionism? So if I am wanting to build a lead magnet. And I'm really spending time asking myself, like, what is the right lead magnet? And I'm researching that and I'm seeing how can I give value around true pain points. That is people work. If I am spending 3 hours in creative market trying to find the best ebook template to make that, that is not good for my people. What they need is me to make that lead magnet and get it to them. I could literally write it in a Google document and get it to them, and it would serve them. So this is the benchmark I use. The next P, creating profit without perfection. Am I doing things that actually lead to income? Am I talking about my offers? Am I selling with confidence? Am I following up any leads or any inquiries? Am I improving a funnel with data, not with tinkering for the sake of it? Am I building in conversion in my business? It is about asking myself, does this actually help me to move people through my customer journey and into my programs, which we're going to talk about in a second, and make me profit? And again, if I am writing that post in Canva and I am tinkering with my 2 brand fonts and I think this isn't brand damaging to be using the brand fonts that I already have, this isn't going to break my business if I'm using a darker shade of gold instead of a lighter shade of gold today, but it is going to hurt my business if I do not get this post up or this email out or get back to this person, because there is profit and impact, but profit on the other side of that. And I need to do that imperfectly. I look at creating and refining programs, again, without perfection. So am I really moving the needle by getting closer to getting this program out with the work that I'm doing right now? So getting this program out or product out or offer out, whatever you want to actually call it, product, programs, anything like that. But the thing you actually need to deliver to people is this getting it closer. So when I've designed a whiteboard of something that I'm mind mapping out, and I think I'm going to go to Officeworks and buy some different colored whiteboard markers right now because I'd really actually love to use different colors for this. And if that is actually a form of procrastination, because truly that is not getting my product closer to delivery for people, then I need to go. You can buy some new whiteboard markers next time you're at Officeworks for something, or you'll be driving by there on the weekend when you go to the farmers markets for blah, blah, blah. Pick them up then. Right now, you're in a sprint to work on your product. You need to now move to the next stage, which is writing the promise for this or doing the research or whatever it may be. Again, asking myself, is this moving my program or product or offer closer to it being in people's hands? And then there is staying connected to passion without letting it become procrastination. I am in business because I want to serve people in my own way. I want to create a business that is true to my values, that gives me freedom, that gives me flexibility, but I also want to have a damn good time doing it. And sometimes I find the busy work I'm doing, as I said before, is stuff I just really want to do because I like doing it. I might like rebranding my business. And if you want, there is a place for that. But it has to be scheduled after people, profit, programs or products, whatever you want to call it. It has to come after those 3 Ps are delivered. And then I do get to lean into my passion, but without letting it become procrastination, because I believe the happier you are in your business, the better it is going to be. So if you are working on something and you go, this is just pure procrastination, I do not need to be rebranding right now, this is actually procrastination instead of work to move forward, then we're ditching that. But if it is, I really, really, really want a rebrand and I want it for these reasons. My brand no longer feels aligned. I've grown out of it. It's not resonating in my market. It's impossible to design efficiently with blah, blah, blah. That is okay. That is not procrastination. We have business building justification for doing that. And I am going to park that after I think about, okay, well, what can I do without these brand colors right now? I'm just going to throw up a white Canva tile and share my message this way because it is serving my people. It's about my programs. It is making me profit. And then I'm going to come back to that at another time, or even better, I'm going to be able to work with someone and go even next level and not DIY my brand this time because I've served my people with my programs and create a profit. And now I actually have extra money to be able to invest in that stuff that I am really passionate about. So I hope that this has really helped you today to land with what is happening in your world right now, to really have some kind of gauge to be able to ask yourself, is this building my business or just keeping me busy? Again, because feeling busy can feel safe at the time. It lets us often avoid that scary stuff, the visible stuff, the selling stuff, the stretch yourself stuff. But being busy without an intervention will burn you out, leave you feeling flat, leave you feel like you are literally going in circles and wondering why you are not getting more done in your business or recognizing it and beating yourself up later. So I really hope that this becomes a question, a tool, a gauge in your business to ask yourself, is this a 4P or am I procrastinating? Why am I procrastinating? What do I need to do to get moving again in my business on the stuff that will actually create momentum and move it forward? And then next week, I'm going to go even further into this when we're talking about staying on track, creating momentum in our business. And I am going to share with you something that I do every single year to make sure I am able to stay on track from a high level as well in my overall business direction. So I cannot wait for you to join me then. But until then, here's to doing the business building work, not the busy work, to help you get seen, loved, selling, and scale. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Seen, Love, Selling, Scale podcast. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired, fired up, and empowered to make serious moves that align with your goals and version of success, both in life and business. If you loved what you heard, head over to www.thisisco.com.au to find all the links and resources mentioned in today's episode. And if you aren't already following the show, make sure you hit that follow button so you never miss a future episode when it drops. I'll see you again next week, same time, same place, same goal to get you seen, loved, selling, and scaling. See you then.